Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you all to today's media event. We will first have opening remarks by both the honorable ministers, after which the floor would be open for questions. May I request Honorable External Affairs Minister, Shri Salman Khurshid, to make his opening remarks.
Thank you. I'm delighted that we have with us Mr. William Hague, Secretary of State for Foreign and Commonwealth Affairs, United Kingdom, a friend of India and a person that you're all familiar with, outstanding friend of our country, and for me, privileged to have someone from my old university join me here in these august surroundings. I'm indeed delighted that I am welcoming His Excellency as the first serving foreign minister in our country after I took office. And I look forward to a very, very significant and a very wholesome relationship of our working together, both for bilateral and for multilateral issues. We've discussed a wide range of subjects today, and if I was to start talking about them, we would be here for well past lunchtime. But the strengths that we have, we've emphasized those in the areas in which we need to move forward and look forward to moving forward. We've emphasized, we've looked at our partnership strengths in the areas that include trade and investment, security, defense, education, science, technology. And we do hope that in view of our enhanced strategic relationship, we will continue to move forward and further strengthen cooperation in strategic areas and to address all sensitive issues that concern us both, that indeed concern the world. India has become the third largest investor in the UK, and that's good news. There are now 700 Indian companies in the UK. UK is the largest market in Europe for Indian IT services, and UK is also the third largest inward investor into India. So trade and investment is obviously a most important plank of our growing bilateral relationship. Security, defense, and particularly counter-terrorism cooperation form, again, a very important aspect of our relations. To this expanding and ever-expanding list, we have added cyber security cooperation as well, a subject very dear to the Secretary's heart. We recently held the India-UK Cyber Security Dialogue in London last month. Secretary Hague and I have welcomed this new initiative during our discussions. And a joint statement on cyber cooperation will be issued immediately after this. And this is an emerging area of cooperation between us that we will give high priority to. I look forward to continuing this relationship in our discussions over lunch, when we will have a chance to discuss regional issues and some more global issues. Thank you very much. Secretary.
Thank you very much indeed. Well, I'm delighted to return to India, and I'm very grateful to my new counterpart, His Excellency Shri Salman Khurshid, for the warm welcome he's extended to me today. And I'm pleased to be among the first foreign ministers to have the chance to discuss with him the many pressing challenges that we face together. On our election in 2010, the British government made clear that we would invest significantly in many ways in the UK-India relationship to build a stronger and wider and deeper partnership together. For us, this is an essential pillar in our broader strategy to build far closer relations with the powers of the South and the East in the world. And I've often said that I believe the 21st century, more than any previous period, will be shaped by India. Since 2010, our partnership has truly become stronger, wider, and deeper already. We are on course to hit our target of doubling trade by 2015. British companies are leading the way in that, investing in India in key sectors such as energy and telecommunications and education. The largest single foreign investments into India are British, by Vodafone and by BP. And as the Minister has said, this is a two-way process. Indian companies have chosen to invest more in the United Kingdom than in the whole of the rest of the European Union combined. with great success, as Tata's investments in companies such as Jaguar Land Rover have shown. Beyond business, the finest minds in our two countries are increasingly working together for the benefit of both our nations and the world. Our joint government-led research funding has now passed £100 million, compared to £1 million 3 years ago. I'm delighted that each year over 30,000 ambitious young Indians choose the United Kingdom for their higher education. And as home to 4 of the world's top 10 universities, I'm confident that Britain offers these students the very best in their pursuit of knowledge. And I'm also pleased by the progress we're making to strengthen our civil nuclear cooperation, both commercially and through our research institutions. We've also agreed, as you've heard, a communique to steer our future cooperation on cybersecurity. This agreement confirms our shared commitment to the core principles of liberty, transparency, freedom of expression, and the rule of law in cyberspace. Our diplomatic networks play a vital role in creating opportunities for partnership. Since 2010, we've agreed to open 2 new Deputy High Commissions in Hyderabad and Chandigarh. The British diplomatic presence in India is now more extensive than that of any other nation, and we hope to develop this further over the coming years. And our recent decision to re-engage with the government of Gujarat now offers us the chance to strengthen our ties across the breadth of India. Our partnership is not limited to cooperation on British or Indian soil. We've worked increasingly closely together on matters of international security, and not only cybersecurity, as we've mentioned, but counterterrorism and the security of chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear materials. We've also worked closely together with India during her tenure on the United Nations Security Council, and we look forward to the time when India has a permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council. And we also support Indian membership of the international export control regimes. I know that we'll discuss a range of other foreign policy issues later, including Afghanistan, also other issues in India's neighborhood, on which we greatly value India's counsel and cooperation. We will discuss, I'm sure, the situation in Syria, where the British government, we are appalled by the regime's brutal repression, and I welcome India's support over recent months for a stronger role for the UN in bringing an end to the violence in Syria. I think we're both committed to pursuing a peaceful political transition and working to support the work of the UN Arab League Special Envoy Lakhdar Brahimi in his efforts to achieve this. So ours is a genuine partnership of equals between the UK and India that we have done a lot to build up over the last 2.5 years. But there are many more exciting opportunities, and we look forward to taking this on to the next stage and to being a partner of choice for India in many areas over the years to come. Thank you.
Honorable ministers have kindly agreed to take a few questions. The first question is from Mr. Shailendra Wangu from ETV.
My question is addressed to Secretary of State. Sir, what has changed now in the, after 20 years that made UK to lift a travel-related advisory to the state of Jammu and Kashmir?
What has changed is the situation on the ground. We take our travel advice very, very seriously in the UK, and we only change it if the facts have changed. Our travel advice is never political. It seeks to give genuine travel advice for the safety of travelers across the world. And there has been an improvement in the situation. It is possible to say that people can travel to certain places that have been too difficult or dangerous for them to go to for a long time. That is obviously a good development. But our advice is always based on our understanding of the facts, and that is true in this case.
The next question is from Parul Malhotra, CNN IBN.
Mr. Foreign Secretary, there's been again speculation about the UK cutting development aid to India. Can you confirm if that indeed has been decided? post-2015? And did aid come up when you discussed issues with Salman Khurshid and Mr. Chidambaram? And to the External Affairs Minister, what is India's position on British aid? A former minister, at that time minister, said in Parliament that he felt this was peanuts. So do we actually welcome British aid, or we'd much rather see it being used in other countries?
Thank you for that question, which I think is designed to create an argument between us, but it need not do so. In the British government, this is the responsibility not of me, but of my colleague, Justine Greening, the International Development Secretary, and she has been here recently discussing these things. We haven't been discussing this today, although I did discuss it with the Finance Minister earlier today. I think the governments of the UK and India are agreed on the way forward on this issue, and my colleague, Justine Greening, will make a statement about this in the very near future, so I don't want to preempt or cut across what she is going to say. You won't have long to wait to hear how we intend to proceed, and she has had in particular good and thorough discussions with our Indian colleagues about this.
Well, I can only add to you that if we didn't discuss it, it didn't merit discussion. We discussed a lot of trade, investment, cooperation, international, bilateral, multilateral, and I think that's how we see our relationship grow. Aid is the past and trade is the future. So we are looking at the future. Every era, every moment in history has its own uniqueness and peculiarity, and I think we should look at the immense potential that we have together, and we are comforted in the knowledge that we seem to be working in the right direction, and we certainly look forward to major things happening in the future.
The next question is from Mr. Sanjay Majumdar from BBC.
Foreign Secretary, question on Syria. In the absence of any clearly identified opposition group, are you concerned that radical Islamic groups could end up dominating the situation on the ground? And to the Minister of External Affairs, are you comfortable with this idea of trying to unify the opposition groups in Syria and force out the Assad regime?
Shall I go first?
Yeah, please.
Well, I am concerned that the longer the crisis in Syria goes on, the greater is the opportunity for extremist groups to gain a foothold or to increase their strength or to recruit foreign fighters into Syria. This is why it is so important, so urgent to achieve a resolution of this crisis. And this is the case that we make to our colleagues on the Security Council, including to Russia and China, who vetoed our last resolution attempting to address this in July. So this is a danger. It's a serious danger. It's one of the reasons why it is important for opposition groups to work together, as we are encouraging them to do. As you know, there is a meeting taking place in Doha. Our own special representative from the United Kingdom is at that meeting, is working with them. We want to see in the future a free and democratic Syria in which everybody will be able to discuss their differences, stand for election against each other. But in this terrible crisis for their country, it's important that they come together with a common platform and a common ability to negotiate about the future. So we strongly encourage them to do that. That is part of seeking a peaceful resolution to the crisis. It remains, of course, a desperately urgent crisis. The humanitarian situation is deteriorating all the time. In the absence of a resolution of the crisis, we will continue to step up our humanitarian assistance. We will give non-lethal support to the opposition, to opposition groups, particularly in communications equipment and water purification equipment, equipment that saves lives. And we will work with other countries on the day after Assad, what happens after Assad, because Syria will need a lot of help at that point. And we will be ready to provide some of that help.
Well, I think that I needn't add too much to that. Stakeholders and people who have taken greater interest in Syria have the support of all peace-loving people. We do want a resolution and a quick resolution, because the situation is beginning to look alarming. We have an interest in peace, and we will continue to support all efforts that are being made to bring a peaceful resolution. It is a very difficult situation, and we don't want to make it more difficult by adding anything that would not be very helpful. So I think at present it's best to go by the efforts that are being made by the UN and to support the UN efforts. And whatever, in a sensitive manner, whatever one can communicate between stakeholders to ensure that we move forward in the right direction is something that we will continue to do.
The last question will be from Ms. Parul Chandra from Asian Age.
Well, I think that I would like to put on record our appreciation for the sensitive cooperation that we have seen from United Kingdom. We have at different levels, we are constantly in touch. This is a common concern for both of us, and certainly it is for all our partners in the rest of the world. And of course, you have to remain one step ahead of unwholesome forces, which I hope that we will be able to do. There are issues that each nation has to tackle for itself vis-a-vis its own population, and I think that there are in many ways in which my own personal experience is that UK does that wonderfully well in terms of inter-community bonding and social factors that emerge because of changing circumstances. And we do the same for ourselves. We are a much larger country, and therefore the effort required is much greater. Their effort would be perhaps more limited in terms of numbers that are involved. But I think we are both sensitive about these issues, and we are addressing them both internally as well as bilaterally, where there is a bilateral concern. I would say that there is no reason for anyone to feel concerned unduly. Matters are being taken care of, being addressed, and addressed with reasonable success.
This is a very important point. We've emphasized, of course, the tremendous economic opportunity and educational opportunities for our countries, but we've also been determined in recent years to intensify our cooperation on matters which help to maintain the security of the citizens of our countries. And so we have improved our cooperation on counterterrorism in many different ways. We've discussed that this morning. And we're also clear that we can continue to do more in that area. There will be official level talks in the near future about this. Both our countries have terrible and tragic experiences of terrorist attack. And both of us therefore have experience in the importance of counterterrorism cooperation. And part of that, of course, is countering radicalization. Again, there are lessons that we can share with each other, and that can be an important part of our discussions on these issues. So, yes is the answer to your question.
With that, we come to the conclusion of the media event. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Haven't had enough pictures.
So we have another handshake in a different setting.
Thank you.
Right. Okay. Have we earned some lunch?